Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel, Reclaiming My Identity, man. And this is about to be on and popping. Today, we are live here with Pastor Officer Sherod Reed. Man, it is good to have you on. It is good to have you on. Just start us off. Tell us who you are, where you're from. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Sherod Reed, and Pastor West and I go back a long ways. We met in the city, my hometown city, back in Greenwood, Mississippi, when he was pastoring here. And I live now in Hattiesburg, but I am a 24-year veteran, law enforcement. I also teach every day and in a high school, and I teach law and public safety. So I've got influence with children that I'm seeing, and so I'm kind of all over the place. So I leave one job and come to another job, and then I still do what I do as it relates to ministry and pastoring. But um, and I do have a weekly radio show that I do, and I work here at the radio station. So it's a lot that I do as it relates to the community. I've always been community driven, and actually tonight, that's the kind of stuff we're gonna deal with tonight. All I can say is probably buckle your seatbelt. It's gonna get real tight, and if you if you're a little weak, this may come across a little abrasive, but we've got to deal with issues in our community. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir. Now, man. So let's unpack this a little bit more, man. So yeah, I met you in Greenwood, Mississippi,
Yes,
and I remember the first time we met. I think you came to our church to sing. You and your group.
that's right. That's correct.
Come
Yes,
on,
sir.
man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Y'all still singing?
Well, not as much because of course they're home up in the Delta, and I'm down here in Hattiesburg, so I'm about 3 hours, 3.5 hours away from them. Um, but we do, of course, with the church praise team. Yeah, we do some things. Yeah, yeah, we kind of kick it. We kick it around. Yeah.
So how long have you been in Hattiesburg?
We're in year five now.
Year
I'm in
five.
year five. Year five. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So you've
Yes.
been there. So what brought you to what took you to Hattiesburg?
Well, I'm glad you asked. This gonna want to be one of those seatbelt buckle moments. Sometime God will dry up the well.
Come on
He
now.
will dry up the well and force you into destiny.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, hello, hello,
Yeah, yeah.
Elijah and the woman and the Shunammite woman. Sometime
Mm-hmm.
God will allow the well, he'll allow everything to dry up. And that's what happened. Everything kind of dried up back home. And the Lord said, I'm calling you further, calling you further. And never thought that I would be in this place, not in Hattiesburg.
Mm-hmm.
But praise God, thank God that I'm here. But yeah, everything kind of dried up, and I actually had no choice. I mean, literally, the home we were in, the guy sold it from right up on us, man. I mean, right from under us. And so I'm just like,
Wow.
oh wow. So we were gonna buy the house, but it never worked out. And so I'm just like, wow, isn't this something? So and God just opened a door here, and the State Department called me and said, hey man, there's an opening in Hattiesburg. Need you to go down and check it out.
Hmm.
And here I am 5 years later. 5 years later.
Wow. Wow.
Yes, sir.
So all of this, so we about to get into this thing. So all of the posts that I've been seeing you put on Facebook, those have been you being in Hattiesburg.
Those are the posts me being in Hattiesburg. However,
Mm-hmm.
whenever it came to Greenwood, I went home to Greenwood. I go
Okay.
home to Greenwood. Hadn't been there now, of course, the cold weather.
Mm-hmm.
But I have not. What we typically do is I take have another brother up there that's trying to do things in the community. So whenever he calls, I go.
Okay.
And we do these kind of like crusades.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that we're really doing is we're in the community and we're dealing with, and that's why I said today, if somebody's weak in jellyback, this may not be the broadcast for them because that's what we're gonna deal with: weak leadership, jellyback leadership.
All right. All right. So tell me some of the things. Let's start off with some of the things you have seen. We're gonna deal with Greenwood because that's the area I'm familiar with, and that's the area that you kind of still work with. That's where I
Yes,
know
sir.
you from,
Hmm.
and I know a little bit about that area and the violence and stuff. So talk to us about some of the things that you've seen in Greenwood, Mississippi. I guess first of all, tell us a little bit about Greenwood, Mississippi, and then tell us some of the things that you've
Woo.
seen and some of the problems.
Okay. All right, here we go. Let's buckle the seatbelt real quick, really tight. Let's talk about it. The Willie Lynch letter. And I want to go all the way back to 1600,
Mm-hmm.
1619. I want to go all December 25th. Letter
Mm-hmm.
was written to the Commonwealth in Jamestown, and this guy comes over from the West Indies, and he tells them how to deal with their slaves. In that letter, and Pastor, through actually on through school, man, through college, you don't hear much about the conversation of the Willie Lynch letter. We talk
Mm-hmm.
about it,
Mm-hmm.
but we hit it and miss it, and we just go.
All right.
And what happens is we don't deal with the reality of the slave mindset
Come on now.
in that letter and what he taught and what he actually it was a program. He actually programmed. It was really the letter is really a program. And if we think about that type program and what it is that he did and how he did it, he was able to literally um, control the mindset of the white slave, as well as at the same time he said, now uh, let's make a slave, and he did that through control. So
I'm getting
the
some.
city, you got some passion?
I'm getting some feedback on this end. Sounds like some
Yep,
static.
yep.
Are you
Is
hearing
the
it on
mic
your end?
reverb? Just a little bit, just a little bit, and it's actually my voice. I
Okay.
can't hear. You're clear.
Would you happen to have like a I wonder if it's. I wonder. You said you got a Bluetooth. I wonder if maybe this is the Bluetooth.
I tell you what, I'll cut it off. I'll cut it off.
Okay, let's see what happens. That was it.
That's it.
That was it.
Okay, great. Um, but the city of Greenwood has a rich heritage and history, dating all the way back
Man,
to
I'm still here.
actually up to now. In the city, and Pastor, when you were there, there's what they call this bridge. It's called the bridge. Right there
Uh,
on, um, it is actually on one of our main, um, I guess, main streets there in Greenwood, where it right there at the courthouse. That bridge right there turns,
mm-hmm.
in of course the trading days. That bridge would turn. Okay. Now we did this project called Booker's Place on Netflix. Those of you that's listening might want to put it in the chat. It's called Booker's Place, and you can
Booker's place.
Booker's Place. Yes.
Okay.
I know you were there for a minute, but I don't know because I really wanted to connect with you and didn't get a chance to really take you around the area because some of the folks that were there at the church you were at, I figured they probably wouldn't take you into the places where you really needed to think because you were really trying to impact. And folk get scared of folk like you and me because they're like, oh Lord, what are you finna do? So we kind of like our big brother Yeshua, Jesus, where we finna do something. We finna stir up the masses. But
Mm-hmm.
Greenwood, that history is there where there's been a complete separation. You're talking about Martin Luther King going down the street to West McLaurin. Martin Luther King, MLK, they did all kinds of stuff. When you look at a lot of rich history in Greenwood.
Hold,
Sure.
hold on one second, Pastor. Um, I'm hearing that your audio is unclear. Mine is fine, but yours
What
is
about it now? I'm trying to. I've got it. I've
it's
got my phone up as high as it goes.
no, it's still it's I'm getting static. Um, yeah, I'm hearing that it's static. Do you have any I don't know something on that would
Hold on. Let me turn off this Wi-Fi.
okay.
Let me try something.
Let's see. Let's see. We're gonna bring up.
All right, am I back on?
I can man. That's so much better.
All right, that's better.
That's bet. That's I don't hear nothing now. Let's go.
Okay. But also I'm in a bad place, man. I wouldn't be surprised. It may be the location. It may be where I am. And if I
Uh,
have,
maybe.
I'll move and go to
Yeah,
and go.
because now you're buffering.
Okay. All right. So give me a second. Let me y'all gonna roll with me. Give me 1 second. Move.
Okay, okay.
We
Yes,
gonna go.
this what happens when you go live, saints. When you go live, sometimes you may have some glitches every once in a while, but this is some rich stuff. We got to get this tonight. We got to get this tonight.
I'm going to move over to another building and
Okay.
come up with see what happens there. All right, so y'all give me 1 second, but I'll keep talking. Can you hear me clearly now?
I can hear you.
Okay, I'm gonna keep talking as relates to Greenwood until I
Mhm.
get to some light.
Okay.
With the city of Greenwood, this place was very rich as relates to the civil rights struggle. And we actually have here in Mississippi called the Mississippi Civil Rights Museum.
Mhm.
Now, that particular museum has all of the history of Mississippi in it, and it is a dark, dark history. And those of us that are from this area, we for many years, people tried to dance around the subject. We try to make it seem like that, it'll get better. Truth of the
Mhm.
matter is, in Mississippi, there is a mindset here, and there is a white supremacy mindset. They are better, and they feel better.
Mm.
Am I?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, okay, great, great. So, as it relates to City Greenwood itself, and how I can break all this down is we've got to take a look at um, what has been created in that town, which is apathy. And the apathy is all the way from leadership, from City Hall, all the way down to no halls, complete
Mhm.
apathy. And
Mhm.
that's why the violence is the way it is, as prevalent as it is. And no one, and I'm not saying no one wants to change it, but it's
Mhm.
a difficult thing to change when we talk about apathy. It's a very
Yeah.
serious. And so the city Greenwood itself. So what we do is we go down often, and we actually do um, crusades. Like I said, we come
Mhm.
together for that. Am I clear? Good.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
That's better.
Um, but as it relates to the city itself and the violence, what has taken place is no different than city Atlanta.
Mhm.
I've been in many of those big cities. Our people have been what Malcolm hoodwinked.
Man, man, now you're going in and out. Have
Ah,
mercy. It
okay,
seemed like maybe you're a little too far in the building. If you get closer to the door, if there's something like that where you can, because it seemed like you were fine until you um just sat down and just got comfortable.
man. I tell you what, the only other thing that I could possibly do is go get in a car.
Oh man, I don't want you to have to get in the car. I know it's cold, bruh.
Man, look, it is what it is because we got to get this conversation. It's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming.
Yes, man. I've been wanting to have this conversation, man.
Yes, sir. So, all right. So here we go, y'all. I'm transitioning again so that we can get this because it's definitely cold outside. So I would do it outside. It's cold out here. Um,
Hmm.
but as it relates the shooting that have taken place in the city, I'll say I've got to take at least now. This is going to be very tight because there's going to be some people from the city that may listen to this broadcast. And should they listen to this broadcast, they're going to hear some things, but they're going to hear my heart.
Hmm.
Pastor, how's that, man? Now, I just walked into another place.
So it sounds fine initially. So we'll see what happens.
All right. All right. So, anyway,
Yes.
I'm going to talk. I'm going to talk about but one of the things that in Greenwood was leadership.
Hmm.
Got this guy, Marcellus Gray, uh, son out doing his business on it, and the shootings are happening. Now, this same guy about. Believe it or not, we go way, way back. And about with me working in law enforcement and me knowing him, knowing we all grew up together. Opportunity to arrest him, all the stuff come across. So now you got people. I'm not the
It's
same I was in 97, 98.
it's doing the same thing, man. I think it's the internet now because it's just choppy. You're
Okay,
going in and out.
so let me ask you, think we just need to do a regular live off of your Facebook page?
You say go live, then it won't go on YouTube because right now we're on both of them.
We're on both. Okay, I
Yeah.
got
So do you have access to a computer?
you. Let me see if this computer has a camera on it. I don't think that computer has a camera on it. This one possibly does. However, let me see.
Just keep talking while you looking at while you doing that.
Okay, but um, like I said, taking a look at um, as relates to the city itself and how it could change. So much took place in Greenwood that over time
Mhm.
um, that they refused to um, to address it,
Mhm.
and so now things getting out of hand. So back in the and I guess I say back in the in the 2000s or late 1990s and 2000s. Now I do have WebEx on here, Pastor.
Say it again.
I do have WebEx.
Okay.
If you could, you'll probably have to email me a link to see if I can get on the speakers there.
Okay. Cause I think it's now it's just that the internet is choppy. So if you were on Wi-Fi, cause probably where you are is probably out in the boonies somewhere,
No,
and you're
I'm actually on my data, but it's a bad building. It's a
yeah,
bad.
that's what I'm saying. So yeah, if you were on Wi-Fi, then it would work, but that's when we had the static.
Man,
Um,
I'm
are
just
you
gonna.
in a different building? Or are you in the same building?
I walked out to a different building, came back in the same building. Now I'm gonna walk back out to the trunk. I'm gonna get in this
Is
car. How about that?
okay. Because
I'm
I
gonna
was
get in
gonna
this.
say if the internet, I mean, if it's Wi-Fi in that other building that you were in, maybe you can try that building and see what happens.
Yeah,
But
I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
get in the car. I'm gonna get in the car, and we're gonna roll from there.
All right.
But anyway, like I said, with the city there,
Mm-hmm.
and with the refusal of wanting to stop the violence, they allowed things to just fester. Hold on, Pastor.
Okay.
I know what that is. Can you hear me, Pastor?
Yes, sir.
A little bit better.
That's better.
Okay. Let's see what happens. Hopefully, it'll let us do it. I know it's really dark in here too, though.
That's all right. We can see your face and we can hear your audio.
Okay. Anyway, so they refuse to deal with the issues at hand. So what they would allow
Mm-hmm.
to happen is, you hire. Oh, this is gonna sound bad. Here we go. You hire people that won't necessarily police the way that we used to.
All right.
All right. Now, when I say the way we used to, a lot of you may disagree with the way we used to do law enforcement because it almost seemed like it was, we were picking at our own people. We were
Mm-hmm.
profiling our own people.
Mm-hmm.
But we had all the dope dealers. We knew who they were. We knew who they were, where they lived, where they were going.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got these
Mm-hmm.
youngsters out here who all of them got switches and guns, and you don't know where they are. And it's because
Mm-hmm.
you have not been aggressive enough to deal with the situation. So now we've got these kids out here that are shooting, terrorizing our neighborhoods, and will not let up. And so what happens is law enforcement is put in a very unique position
to where you're fearing for your life every day that you come out because you just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's no different than Joe Citizen. The only
Mm-hmm.
thing is we've been charged with the responsibility of trying to keep communities safe.
Mm-hmm.
But that's only one side of it. The leadership has to supply resources. You got to have things in place, support in place, in order for law enforcement to be effective. So what ends up happening is we end up um, responding to calls, and the bad part about it is leadership had an opportunity to address it, and they wouldn't. And so now we're stuck with murders, shootings, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody want to pray. And I'm saying, forget the prayer. Let's get out in the communities. I don't mind you praying, but we need to be doing something. Ain't that what James said? Faith without
Faith without works.
yeah. So
Come
everybody,
on now.
everybody praying, but ain't nobody getting out doing anything.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
we talk about the Jehovah's Witnesses that used to knock on the doors,
Well,
but at least they were effective enough. You knew they were coming Saturday morning.
yes.
You knew that.
Yes.
Now, whether or not you heard from them or not, but they were coming.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so that's what we have in our communities now. We've got a lot of in our communities. The people that were once proactive are not. I'll be 54 in May,
Mm-hmm.
and the generation before me, which is the baby boomers, are almost actually quiet. I mean, they're mum now. They're not saying anything, and it's because you scared you're gonna lose your life.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we get to this point where we're completely almost obsolete, man, and stuff is happening? So, Pastor, it's almost like, man, in Greenwood and in other cities,
Mm-hmm.
just let them do it, and hopefully they'll die out.
So let me ask this question, kind of transitioning somewhat. What do
Come
you
on.
what do you think is the reason why it's so much violence? Why do you think there's so much violence in Greenwood and Hattiesburg and New York and Chicago and all of these other cities? Or you can just if you want you can just start with just you can just use Greenwood. Why
Sure.
do you think why do you think it's so much violence there?
Well, let's talk about our community, the black community, in in
Mm-hmm.
in totality.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about what he did. And when I talk about that letter again, let's talk about what he did with that what he said in that letter. You
Mm-hmm.
pit the light skinned male against the dark skin, the male against the female, the old man against the young man, the old woman against the young woman. And we program them and put a mindset there where one of the biggest things that he said that I use fear and distrust and envy.
Mm.
And if we think
Mm.
about our community, that's exactly where we are. We're
Mm-hmm.
afraid of one another. Now we call it the crawdad mentality, crowd mentality. As soon as
Yeah.
you start moving up, I start trying to pull you down.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Mm-hmm.
that's a program. That's a
Yeah.
program that it has. You don't even know me, and yet you try to pull me down. That's a program,
Mm-hmm.
and that's also the biggest thing is. And I said this on my page the other day, Mama, Daddy, where y'all at? There are no men. Literally, dads are somewhat quiet, waiting on a basketball game to come on, waiting on a football game to come on. And when those games come on, now we're excited, and now we're all for it. Dude, we're too used to entertainment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when they come to a platform like what you have, they won't listen to that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to listen to that because you're not doing this and ooh Lord and all of that foolishness. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
y'all please hear me. I'm not saying that about your pastor. That's what he does. But all I'm saying is, at some point we've got to realize it, and we got to get taught, and we got to be
Mm-hmm.
taught correctly. So
Yeah.
you can't talk to me for I say 5 minutes, and then as my daughter say, now you want to sing while you talk for the next 25. Talking about you want to put some gravy on it. Come on, man,
Mm-hmm.
teach us.
Mm-hmm.
And so our communities, we're so used to entertainment. I think I think Dr. Bryant got this thing where he's talking about a blackout day come
Mm-hmm.
end of February, and they want to, not shop at some of these stores, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Our folk ain't gonna do that.
That is true. That is
Our folk,
true.
our folk ain't gonna do that. And I'm sorry, y'all. Please excuse the vernacular, my English, because I've just got to come straight down home. I can speak the way I need to, but we just talking now. Our folk will not do that because we have too much vested in Target and Walmart and all the rest of these places.
Mm-hmm.
And even if but there is, and you can put in the comments, Pastor, go back in Claiborne County here in Mississippi in
Mm-hmm.
1966. They did a boycott that is still the largest and most economical, actually down profit for white people ever in the state of
Really?
Mississippi. Yes, 1966 in Claiborne County, Mississippi. It was, and you spell it Claibor, Claiborne. It is huge, man. And I look back at the thing and I said, wow. Now that right there is called, now that's what you're sticking together for.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so bad that the white businesses sued the protesters.
Wow.
Yes, sir. It was so bad. And,
Wow.
and and the thing about it is the protesters still won, but the white businesses got mad because the black folk wouldn't come in. It was so bad.
Mm-hmm.
They
Wow.
shut Port Gibson down. They shut it down. So all I'm saying is because we're not unified, then we have this issue that we have. And we'll continue to have it. And the thing about it is with our current administration that we have in place, that's a whole nother topic and conversation there.
That's a
Um
whole nother video.
man,
Yes.
that's man, you got a man, well, you've been in Africa all that time. You've got a man from South Africa coming to America who has absolutely no ties here that actually sat in the Oval Office
Yep.
and and had an interview while the president, the sitting president of the United States, sat there and didn't say a word.
Not a word.
And
Stood
then,
over him.
yes, sir. And then the 4-year-old son says, "You're not the president."
Mercy.
Man,
Mercy.
so all I'm saying, and I know we're not supposed to be talking about that. I know we're supposed to be talking about violence. I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to get.
That's all right. That's all right. So tell me, what do you think will help get our people? I mean, what do you think will help change the our city streets, change the mindset of our young people, that are causing all this violence? What do you think the answer is?
I'll say this right here. We're gonna have to go deeper than Jesus before somebody say Jesus and
All
put that in.
right.
Got to go deeper than that. We have got to we have got to deal with leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Our leaders in all of these cities, towns, are literally state, man, and even federal, are taking back seats and just living their own. If you think about it, you living your life, I'm living my life, someone next door living their life. We're not really that concerned the way we were at one time when we needed each other. And
Mm-hmm.
now because you got a degree, I got a degree, we work, you work, I work. Hey man, how you doing? Good to see you. All right, I'm gone. There's no real conversation as to what are we gonna do about these young folks.
Mm-hmm.
And the hard part is our men, that's the answer. But if all we're thinking about is Friday night
Mm-hmm.
football,
Mm-hmm.
Saturday night game day, Sunday night Sunday NFL, and now it's basketball season. Come on, man, come on, man. And so we've got to get back to the core, which is men. Well, bro, I'm just gonna be completely honest. It won't get any better until men step up across the board. Across
Do
the board.
you think that it would change if we knew who we were?
Absolutely.
I mean, if we understood who we were, who we are, who God created us to be. I mean,
Well, again,
unpack that.
here we go. I'm gonna go back to your teaching. Every day you get on Facebook and you do a video
Mm-hmm.
for everybody to see. I hope it's public. If it's not, you need to make it public. But for everybody to see. And the reason why that's important is because you're getting back to the very man, you're getting back to the period in it. I know period is in the punctuation, but
Mm-hmm.
you're getting back to the dot, the
Mm-hmm.
the the beginning. And so if I don't know what my beginning is, how will I even know what you my future? I don't
Mm-hmm.
understand that because no one's teaching me that. And like I said, in church, we're being entertained
Yeah.
than rather than being taught kingdom lifestyle to be brought back into this thing, and it especially as relates to black men understanding, dude, I'm your brother. Now, go ahead, go ahead.
Now I was gonna say, I mean, I love that this, because one of the things that opened my mind and helped me to see my brother is when I understood who I was and who he was.
Yes,
So when I understood, when I came to an understanding and a knowledge of who God has created me to be, I mean, I'm not talking about the whole spiritual aspect. You see
come
what I'm
on.
saying? I'm talking about when I read scripture and I understand that this thing is talking about me, talking
Yeah,
about my people. It caused me to look at, and then and I'm and it's crazy because you're the first interview, right?
yes,
And you're kind of starting off what I'm going to talk about starting tomorrow, which is Deuteronomy 28 and
yeah,
how we got into this situation. You see what I'm saying? And how, if we understood who we are, who God created us to be, then we would not treat each other the way that we treat each other. So I'm not shooting up Greenwood. I'm not shooting up Chicago. I'm
yes,
not shooting up all these other cities because I understand that my brother that I just pulled a gun out on is my brother.
yes.
But go
Yeah.
ahead.
Well, and again, that's what's not being taught. So now we got all right. So we say men. First man got to be at the house. You know now I'll say this. I know there are some men that have made children, and he and the lady is not together. And all I say to the woman is, please don't take that man out of the child's life. Please
Mm-hmm.
allow that man to be a part of that child's life. I know you mad and pissed off, but look, this ain't about you, baby. This is about him and that child. All right, so
Yeah.
that's one side. Now, flip side. So now, as I sit and I look at this, it's got to start at home.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's not being taught at home, now here we are, mind you, we've got a bitter black woman that's upset with a black man who's out of position. Now he's completely out of position. It's
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily that he is not not doing the thing that a man could or should do. He's just out of position. So we got to
Mm-hmm.
move. The black man got to be back in position, and that is understanding, man, that your role as a black man is you were first.
Mm-hmm.
Eve is not to be blamed.
Come on now.
Eve is not to be blamed for this. It is literally going to be. Hold on, Pastor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Literally, um, he is first. Eve is not to be blamed, although he wanted to shift the blame. But here's the
Mm-hmm.
thing: the instructions were given to Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Adam got the instructions first, and then at that point, when he got the instructions, God said, "Okay, it ain't good for this dude to be alone. I got to do something different with him." Everything got everything has a meaning, and interpret it how you want to. At the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, God gave instructions to Adam. So now, and don't forget, why I'm finna say something powerful. Don't forget, bruh, when God created Eve, her name was Adam too.
All right.
Adam named everything. What Scripture says? Scripture says, and God presented Eve, brought her to him. And
Mm-hmm.
Adam said, "Oh yeah, I like this right here. This bone of my bone flesh." Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But look at what God did. God takes a man,
Mm-hmm.
changes a few features in that same man that he took out of man, changed the features, added some things, and
Mm-hmm.
gave him a womb, gave her a womb,
Mm-hmm.
and now she is womb man,
Mm-hmm.
woman.
All right. Yeah, yeah.
And so here we are. And Adam said, "This bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, she shall be called." God didn't do that. Adam did that. So
Mm-hmm.
everything is happening in this earth by the mouth of man. What
Hmm.
man is saying, the man, until man comes back to understanding who he is. That's why I'm glad you're doing the series. When he understands who he is, then he'll understand what it is that he has under him. Go ahead.
So what you're saying is when man understands who he is, when man understands who God has created him to be, then everything else will come back into place. Are you there?
You froze up, bro.
Oh, okay. I said so when man understands who he is, who God has created him to be, then everything else will come back into place.
Well, understand this dominion. He gave us, okay, Genesis 1, 26, 27. Then you got
Mhm.
to go to 28 too and put that on in there. But he talks about dominion.
Mhm.
He said, let them have dominion
Mhm.
over everything in this
Mhm.
earth. Everything. So watch this. He said over everything except another man. Ooh, that's deep. You're not
Unpack.
supposed to have dominion over another man, but over everything else
Okay.
in
Okay.
the.
Okay.
So for a man to think that he has dominion over another, then there's something wrong. Any man putting his hand on a woman, that lets me know that you man are way out the way and you don't understand who you are. Because if you
Mhm.
understood who you are, you understand who she is to you.
Mm.
And then you'd understand that she is bone of your bone, flesh of your flesh. That's your rib, as we call it.
Mhm.
And so what has to happen is once man gets in place, man, this gonna sound bad, but God ain't touching his earth until man does something.
Come
He
on,
ain't,
man.
he
Come
ain't
on,
touching
man.
earth until man gets in place. And that means for every man that's out there, me, you, and every man that's listening, or every woman that's got a man, until he gets in place, when we get in place, the Lord told me that he said, boy, you out of position. I need you to get back in position. I had to repent. He said,
Mhm.
you moved out of position. So he says, there's an assignment for you. But I know that's on the spiritual aspect where we lose a lot of people. But again,
Mhm.
that's not being taught in church. So if it's not being taught in church, then bro, you have a commission, you have an assignment to help us become better men through your podcast, and that's a heavy assignment.
I appreciate the load. I appreciate the load. So tell me, kind of, taking that and moving with it, running with it. Tell me what role does the quote unquote church have to play in all of this?
Ooh,
What's the role that the church plays?
now why would you? Now I got an answer for it. I'm finna piss.
I know.
All right, so here we go. Here we go. When God gave me the name for our ministry here, called the Remnant Center here in Hattiesburg.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
When we think about the word remnant, there's a whole lot, but he gave me what I call the I factor. And he gave
Okay.
me eyes, influence, impact, all the things that we're supposed to do. He
Mm-hmm.
said the job of the building, all right, now I'm going somewhere now. The job of the building is to congregate, to leave out and train for rain, to reign. The job of that building, of that man or woman of God, is to train the people in there to go back out to impact and influence everything at the job. So we're
Mm-hmm.
to be the salt, the yeast, and the light
Mm-hmm.
wherever
Mm-hmm.
we go, in Walmart
Mm-hmm.
or wherever we are. We're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be that light. That's the job. It's not, oh God, it is not religious. We have made the building religious, and there was nothing religious about Yeshua, about Jesus. Nothing
Mm.
was religious about him.
Mm-hmm.
Matter
Mm-hmm.
of fact, them the ones that killed him.
Come
It
on
wasn't the
now.
devil. It was a religious people.
The church folk killed him?
Yeah. Oh God, they had to, because
Lord have mercy.
because he went against the grain. He doing like what me and you doing, going against the grain, and that make a lot of folk upset.
Yes.
It upsets a lot, so much so you hadn't been shadow banned yet on Facebook, but I have. Some of my posts don't even go out, man. Man, some of my posts even go out, man. It's so bad. And so, but I said all that to say this: the role of the body
Mm-hmm.
of Christ, of Yeshua Hamashiach,
Mm-hmm.
is to go out, impact. Watch this. We don't bring them in the building to get saved. They get saved on the job, man, because they're around you. They're around me.
Ooh, man. So hold on. Time out. Okay, so the responsibility of the body, okay, is not to just, just have good worship
No,
and
no, that's a fallacy, man.
So we actually, so the body actually has to do some work, actually has to reflect Christ in the community.
Bruh, watch this, watch this. Adam didn't have no choir.
Mm,
I'm saying something now. Adam didn't have no choir. Adam was dominion in the earth all by himself
okay.
until he was deceived. He didn't have Bible study. Not saying anything is wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
All
Mm-hmm.
of that is a result. All of this stuff that we're doing now is a result of the fall.
Mm-hmm.
So this
Mm-hmm.
is God's way of saying, I've got to bring y'all back.
Mm-hmm.
And so now he's saying this, though. I want you to think about everybody that uses the word apostle in front of their name.
Have mercy. Have mercy. Have mercy.
All
Have
these folks
mercy.
that use the titles, I have to ask them a question, bro. What area are you ministering in? How many churches have you started and left the pastor there? Oh, there it is. Okay, so the apostle Paul leaves Timothy. Paul could have stayed there at the church. He called himself pastor.
Yeah, that's right.
That role of that is to establish. So what we're supposed to be doing is establishing. We're supposed, the fivefold ministry, and I know we ain't supposed to be talking about that, but the fivefold ministry has its place. And we've gotten so far away from it. Have you noticed nobody wants to be the teacher? Everybody want to be an apostle, pastor, evangelist. Nobody want to be the teacher. And I just said, Lord, I'll be a teacher. Make me a teacher. I'm fine with that. I'm fine. Then I had one guy said, well, teacher, if you pastor, you supposed to be able to teach. That's a lie. Because I'm listening to some of y'all. I'm listening to what some of y'all praying, and I know you don't pray like that for real at home. And Lord, going on down to the hospital, touch everybody. God said, no, you go to the hospital, and I'll be in you. Okay, anyway, the Ruach, the Holy Ghost, goes and he lives in us. So the governor goes where we go, man, and he tells us where to go. That's the role of the church. The Ruach says, okay, I called you to work at Shell Station number 2, and there's an assignment for you. And when the folk come through, they're gonna see the love of Yeshua, the love of Christ in you. And they're gonna say, you always smiling, something da. Then you're gonna say, yes, God is good. Oh, boom, there it is. That's the conversation starter. And now you evangelize without a microphone.
Well, all right.
And without a pulpit. Anyway, I'm sorry, man. I'm something.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right.
I know that wasn't the question you asked me. My bad.
No. I mean, I want you to get that thing out because the thing is, we got to get out of this playing church stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Where we think that okay, that's enough.
Yes.
Because our communities are not being impacted because we're doing the same thing and expecting different results.
This church acting like that church. That church acting like this church. Ain't nobody wants to be different. Man, you know what? I'm gonna say something. This is crazy, y'all. Y'all forgive me. Y'all forgive me on YouTube and Facebook what I'm about to say. But y'all just float with me. Burger King and McDonald's right across the street from each other. Both of them don't have different, but they sell the same thing. They sell hamburgers and fries, chicken nuggets, grilled chicken sandwich. Ain't too much more than that. Drinks, ice cream, whatever. The McDonald's ice cream machine don't never work. So anyway, but listen, I'm saying all that to say this. Nobody wants to be different. What's the difference, though, in the two? First of all, it's going to be the brand. Whatever McDonald's got going on, Burger King ain't finna advertise that. Burger King say, have it your way. So when you start thinking about this and you say, man, nobody, that's why, bro, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this. I know I hadn't done, I don't go live at my church much, but I'll say this right here. In my building, the building that God has blessed us with, bro, if you walked in, you wouldn't even think it was church. The only way you would know, and the Lord told me, he said, set it up seminar style. And he gave me the slogan, training for reigning. He said, this is what we're going to teach. Teach them how to rule. Teach them how to be kingdom. Teach them how to be kingdom men, kingdom women, and go out and impact the community, influence the community. Bring the community back into a kingdom way of thinking, pulling from the fourth dimension. See, I went over a lot of folks here with that one right there because they don't understand that. But The whole point of it is, bruh, I got a cross up in there, but it don't look like the cross that you would think. It look like a wall decor.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what it looked like. So the Lord said, I want it to be different
Mm-hmm.
because you're different. That's why I like your teaching, man, because you're different. And you're going to go straight down home plate, and I'm going to find out who I am. I'm going to find out if I'm a Gentile or am I a Hebrew. Which one? Am I from Ethiopia or if I'm from Nigeria? By the time I get through listening, I ain't even got to go through any of those ancestral things. By the time I get through listening to you, either that or I'm going to pick a tribe. I'm going to be like, hey, I'm with you. There it is. I pick one. I identify with them. But it's your teaching, man, and that's what's prevalent. So it's this, but the thing is, this is a lonely walk.
It
It's a
is.
lonely walk. God is a. I ask the Lord sometimes. I'll be like, Lord, what are people? He said, over there being religious,
Mercy. Come on now.
over there being religious,
Over
and
there being religious.
yeah, he said, let them be. He said, yeah, they feel a little something, but they miss it so much more. I'm sorry,
Mm-hmm.
man. We weren't supposed to get on that. My bad, man. I'm
Now,
sorry.
see, I mean, but that's we the work can't get done. Our people, and when I say our people, I'm talking about, I mean, first of all, just starting off with the folk outside the building.
Yes.
The violence won't stop. Lives won't change if we continue just being religious. And we
Yes.
take this stuff, and we're, like you said, we're not afraid to be different. You know what I'm saying? We're not afraid to step out on a limb. We're not afraid to say who we are, who God has created us to be. I mean, then the work can get done, because the reality is this: the only way that things are going to change in our communities is if our people in our communities turn back to God. That's the reality. That's the reality. So I'm gonna get to this in a later video. But when you get to Deuteronomy 30, God makes this appeal, and he says, basically, when you call to mind, okay, the blessings and the curses, when you
Yes.
call to mind, when you think about everything that you've gone through, everything that you're experiencing, I'm gonna read. It says, now it should come to pass, when all these things come upon you, the blessing and the curse which I have set before you, and you call them to mind among all the nations where the Lord your God drives you, and you return to the Lord your God and obey his voice according to all that I command you today, you and your children with all your heart and with all your soul, that the Lord your God will bring you back from captivity. Right now, we're captive.
Bruh. I said this. I said this, and folk got mad at me. I said we have been under a curse a long time. But
Mm-hmm.
right now, you are really seeing the ramifications of the curse. And you
Yeah.
are seeing it. And God is saying, I have listened. He said, now, and the only reason why these United States of America has not been destroyed, and using that word, is because there are real believers. There are kingdom people here. You remember when he had Abraham to go to?
Abraham. Mm-hmm.
You remember he said,
Yeah.
"I'm finna destroy this place over here. I'm finna
Mm-hmm.
take it down. God bless him." And Abraham said, "Well, hold on, Lord. What if I find 50?"
Yeah.
But then God started bargaining with him. You know,
Mm-hmm.
our grandfolks used to say, don't question God. That's a lie. I don't know who told y'all that, but don't y'all do that. That's a lie. You better question God. So Abraham begins to bargain with God. He said, okay, not 50, what about 40,
Mm-hmm.
30, 20? Get all the way down to 10. And then still got down to one. And God said, I still can't find one righteous person. I've got to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. This nation, I know there was some stuff going on in Sodom and Gomorrah, bro. Because my grandmother used to say each generation will get weaker and wiser. I didn't understand what she was saying when she said that. I'm like, weaker and
Mm-hmm.
weaker and wiser, but now I get it. Weaker in morals, wiser in everything as technology. Bro,
Wow.
we doing this from a cell phone, man. I'm talking to you on a cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
We are World Wide Web,
Yeah.
www,
Mm-hmm.
all over the world. People can see this. I never would have thought that I'd be able to talk to the world, but I'm able to do it now. So when we look at this, she said every generation gets weaker and wiser. Think about this. We are further, much further than what they were in Sodom and Gomorrah, in my opinion. Now, it don't talk about what happened in Sodom
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Gomorrah. We know there's a lot of homosexuality, but also
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about that culture. Now, you've been to Africa, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know how that culture are, how that culture is, and how
Mm-hmm.
those men are. You talking about, man, if they find out you gay in that culture, I mean, you completely removed from the family, man. I mean,
Yeah.
just,
Yeah. In a lot of those African countries. Yeah.
bro, I talked with a man from Egypt. I had an investigation to do, and I went to this man's house. I had never really met an Egyptian, because he didn't look Egyptian. He, he
Mm-hmm.
he was a European Egyptian. That's a good word. He was like he, he was mixed. All right, all right.
Yeah. The
So
Muslim conquest in the 7th century, man. But yeah,
man,
go ahead.
so I'm talking with this brother, and he's Muslim. He's Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke with him, and but before I got in the house, I saw this dude didn't have any shoes on.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't got no shoes on. I said, okay, well, let me take my shoes off because I'm gonna respect the man's house,
Yeah.
the culture. And I asked him, I said, is it your culture to have shoes off? He said, yes. They had all their shoes lined up at the door.
Mm-hmm.
Watch this, bro. So I'm investigating a family matter, okay, and it's serious. I'm talking about serious enough where we can come in and take children. I'm talking about
Mm-hmm.
that kind of serious. I'm talking about serious.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I asked him a question, he paused, he hesitated, then he answered. But he gave me a cultural answer, not an answer by United States law, if that makes sense. Not constitutional law, because I had to
Mm-hmm.
make him understand that's not what the Constitution says. He's telling me the way he was raised in culture.
Mm-hmm.
So I began to question his children, and each time before they answered, they had to look at him, and he had to give the approval.
Wow.
So
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about complete male dominance. So when we
Yeah.
look at scripture, you got to understand the scripture was written by, for lack of a better term, male chauvinists. I mean, that's the only other way I can say it, because that's the culture. That was the culture in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anyway. So as I'm speaking with this guy, I begin to understand men in that culture completely dominate their house,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
in the house. I
Mm-hmm.
asked him, I said, so let me ask you a question. And I said, what if your son, his son's 17 years old, and my daughter, she was, older, but I said, so what if your son got my daughter pregnant?
Mm-hmm.
He said, oh, she would have to marry him. I mean, he would have to marry her immediately.
Yeah.
I said, immediately? He said, yes. Or he loses the family name. He loses the blessing.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's stuff that you're teaching now that we don't even understand and know about. That's why I like listening to you, man. I love listening to you because I'm just like, man, that dude on something. And it's not necessarily that you're saying you're Hebrew Israelite, the religion, but you are Hebrew, where you have to open up our eyes, and so people would understand, dude, this is where you come from. This
Mm-hmm.
your heritage.
Yeah.
So, we didn't listen to KRS-One back in the day in Public Enemy, and we thought they were strange because they talk this culture talk.
Mm-hmm.
But now here we are trying to live this thing, and we're talking about the Black Panther part. You remember when the movie? I'm going off. I gotta laugh.
Mm-hmm.
You remember when the movie Black Panther came out? Everybody dressed up to go to the movies to go see a hero movie. I said, Lord, these people. I said, Lord, they dressed up in that. You done put on a dashiki, man. That's about a hero. But there were so many subliminal messages
Mm-hmm.
in the movie that we missed it. And so, anyway, I'm sorry, man. What were we talking about, man?
That's all right. That's all right. We just we going everywhere, but we going somewhere, man. We going everywhere, but we going somewhere, man. That's all right. That's all right. So what do you think that our our churches, our community leaders, our communities, what do you think that we can do to help, I guess, first of all, for us to understand who we are and for us to also be able to take that knowledge that we have and be able to impact our communities. In other words, to change our communities for the better. Because, like I said before, I mean, one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on here is because being someone who is not just in the church, talking a talk, but you're out there in the community trying to change the community. You see what I'm
Yes.
saying? And
Yes.
so, but you can't do it, by yourself.
Right.
You can't do it by yourself in Greenwood or Hattiesburg. But the mindset has to change in our people within the pews as well as the people out in the streets.
Well, see, we got to teach that first. We
Mm-hmm.
got to get away from the religious talk. Let's get away from the religious ideals. If somebody's sick, um, look, we're gonna stop the Lord's Supper and pray for this sister. We ain't finna
Mm-hmm.
wait till the Lord's Supper. I'm talking about, hold on, we'll get within a few. We got to finish this ritual. All this stuff is ritual. That's all it is. And so
Mm-hmm.
Yeshua challenged those times. He did that. He would do it purposely just to piss off the Jews. He knew, oh, let me go and put a pin in it. Those are black Jews too, not
Mm-hmm.
these light skinned. Anyway, let me get up. Let me get up back to. I know you'll teach that. I know you're gonna. But anyway, but the thing is, we got to teach this, and it's got to be
Mm-hmm.
taught in house. And the pastors got to get off of this religious stuff, telling me, and the Lord gonna watch over you like He watch over a sparrow, because a sparrow gonna fly. Look, man, dude, sparrows are born to fly. Can we talk about something else? Come on, man. I need you to tell me how to impact my community. How to get? I need to find out about financial stability. I need to find out about financial literacy. I need to find out about how I can my credit impacts the ministry and what can happen and if you need to build a 10,000 member facility or something, if we need to open a museum, a church should be able to follow you and say, man, Pastor West is gonna open up this over here and we're gonna help him because he's taking our people back to a place where we need to be. But the problem is, here we go, Pastor West, they scared of you. And when they get scared of folk with a voice, because it wasn't their idea. And that's why we're having a problem that we're having in our community. I need to move this up to my face. That's why we're having in our community, because it's not Bishop Tutu's idea. It's not Apostle so and so over here, and it ain't Reverend down here. It's Reverend, all of that mess. Reverend Pharaoh at his church, he didn't think of the idea, so he don't want to come. They didn't think of the idea, they won't come. So now you put an event in place, ain't but 10 people there.
Mm-hmm.
And the 10 people that are there, they don't necessarily go to church. So let's think about what Yeshua did, who Jesus chose. Look who he chose. He chose 12 businessmen. None of them were connected to church. Only one that really had what we would call a standard, I think that was Luke, that really had, the standard education.
Yeah.
Everybody else was a businessman, man.
And you say businessman, they were some, I mean, some street guys too. You know what I'm saying? You got Matthew, a tax collector. You got James and John. Them sons of thunder. Them jokers. Them some
So he
criminals.
out of
Go
his
ahead.
not to select religious people, and he in such a manner where you didn't know he was there until he was already impacted. Because they try to all meek and lowly. He was born all meek and lowly, not knowing, dude, this is a lion of Judah. I hear y'all running around here still trying to make him a lamb, baby. There was only one time he was a lamb, and that's when he submitted over and said, "It is finished." Other than that, he was a lion, and he was whipping folk up out of temples, just crazy, man. And I think it takes a radical move in order to do, and it's going to take some radical people. The Lord told me about myself. He said, boy, I called you to be a revolution. Not a revolutionary, a revolution. So that means, he said, there's work to do. There's work to do. And I can't be weak and jellyback and scared because I'm scared to piss off, the politicians. No, dude, come on, man. Come on now. So it's going to take radical movement. You say, what does it take? It's going to take that. And it's going to take somebody different. This stuff that we got going on ain't working. It is not working. That's proper grammar for it. This that we have now is not working. We need some radical stuff. We need some radical people. And the thing about it is, our young folk got the ideas. However, they don't have the discipline.
Yeah.
Discipline. They got
Yeah.
the TikTok for a kid, man, 12 years old to be. I said this the other day. How can a child know and understand music but can't read?
Hmm.
You got to understand music. Rap music comes, especially rap. Rap
Mm-hmm.
comes in a rhythm,
Yeah.
and you got to now you're putting sounds with tones, and you all of this, and hue, and so and you're making this sound even with your voice, but yet you can't even read. That takes a gift and
Mm-hmm.
ability.
Yeah.
These white, I ain't supposed to say that. Those other people have been capitalizing off of our gifts and abilities, but we have sold the blues over to them, and the blues is our music.
We've
So
sold everything over to them.
everything for a
Yep.
dollar.
Yep.
Sorry, man. Did I answer the question? Man, it's supposed to be a lot.
Man, listen, this is why I like you, man, because you're a firecracker, a not a revolutionary, a revolution.
Yes, sir.
Revolution. I mean, somebody who's not afraid to just call things as they are, man. I love it, man. I love it. I'm gonna get you out of here on this, man. Tell my viewers, man, tell them how they can hear you, where they can see you, how they can support your ministry, your what you're doing there in Hattiesburg, in the streets. I mean, just how can they follow you on YouTube, Facebook, or I mean wherever.
Sure. I'm on Facebook. Sherod, the coach Reed is SHERODDA for the coach COH, and then Reed REED. Um, and on Saturdays, I go live, but I'm at the radio station, and so I have a radio broadcast called "What's Going On." I be getting on folk nerves in Hattiesburg in the Pine Belt area, talking about everybody and everything that ain't moving right. I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna say it because we've got to save our own people. I'm not look okay. You asked the question. I'm not looking for a great white hope to come and save us.
Come on now.
Our own people that's going to have to do it because our own people have put our, here it is, we put ourselves in the position we're in now. Civil rights came and they did a lot of stuff. They were able to set us free. But watch this. Here it is. Boy, to get out of Egypt is one thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing to get out of Egypt. But deliverance is a discipline. We can get out of slavery. We're out of slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're still enslaved to a same mentality. And our mindset, we and again, I have to keep going to that letter. Y'all read the Willie Lynch letter, please. We are 300 and I think 19 years, 312, 16 years into the prophecy of that letter. And I hate to
Mm-hmm.
call it a prophecy, but that's what it is because it's still working. And so, other than that, man, look, Sherod, Sherod Reed 50. If you want to send cash up, if you don't, it's okay. It's all good. I work by 12,000 jobs to support myself. So I'm if you don't send money, I don't get an offering from my congregation. So we're good. I give because the thing is, we got to change our own. Bro, I'm getting ready to open a school. Um, and the school is going to be that culture. And I, it's a different kind of school. It's gonna be for folks that have dropped out and everything else. I see. My thing is, we got to go get the ones that nobody else. Them the ones.
That's it.
Yes,
That's it.
ones that our slogan is, and it's real simple. And we'll call to the least, um, the little ones that everybody forget. Them the ones I want, bro. Them the ones that I want. I don't want no church folk. If you at a church and you happy over there, God bless you. We love you. Thank you so much. Send me your cousin Riri. Send me her. Send me, send me that hoe out there. That's what I want. I want her. We change her mind, she'll stop hoeing. Okay, I'm
All
sorry.
right now.
My
All
bad.
right now.
Yeah,
Come
my
on, man. Come
I,
on, man.
we change her mind, she'll stop a lot of stuff. But we got to do that. We got to
That's
do that.
what's up, man. That's
Yes,
what's up.
sir.
Man, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate
Sir.
you coming on. starting us off, kicking us off with the first interview on reclaiming my identity, man. I'm gonna definitely have you back on, man.
Yes,
Um,
sir. I'm looking forward to the broadcast, man. I can't wait till you bring this stuff on in, man. I can't wait. I'm waiting on it.
yes, man. So it's we're live now. So I mean,
Oh,
it's on Facebook. Yeah, it's on Facebook and YouTube right now.
yes, I'm gonna share this to my page for sure. For sure.
All right, man. Blessings on you, man.
Yes,
Keep
sir.
doing the work, and we'll talk.
Yes, sir. Love you, brother. Take care.
All right, love you too, Doc. Family, we appreciate you checking out this stream. Pastor Sherod Reed was our guest this evening. And man, as you can see, he was a fiery revolution, man. I appreciate him coming to participate and to do this interview. I have another interview set up, I think, in another day, 2 days. Got another interview in 2 days. And but we got another Black History Nugget that will come tomorrow in our next video. But in I guess about 2 more videos, we'll have another interview. Thank